Hello and welcome back to the fourth episode of the Flint tutorial. Today we will learn how to draw text to the lore of an item, and later on how to read the item tags and show them in the lore of an item. Let's start by making a new feature. This feature will be a ShowItemTags keybind feature. For now we will not worry about keybinds, but that's the plan. This will implement tooltip render feature. When we hover over this, we can implement tooltip render. Now you've got this which runs every time the tooltip gets rendered. And this is the list of lore that we can modify. So as an example, let's just add a literal string of hi. Let's then add this or register this as a feature, but let's first shift F6 to refactor, and then let's correct the spelling mistake. So we're gonna go into Style and we're gonna add a new feature, which is gonna be new ShowItemTags keybind feature. Now when we run this, the lore of items should contain an extra arbitrary string. Let's see, every line has hi in it now. So that's working as intended. Next, let's make this instead display the item tags of the item. For that, we will need to use the dfitem feature. So let's turn our normal item into a df item, and then let's get the public bucket values, which is basically the tags of the item. And then what we will do, we will go for each key in the public bucket values dot get hypercube keys, which is the amount of tags that start with hypercube : which is what df uses. So for every one of those keys, we will get the data value, which will be public bucket values. Let's rename public bucket values with Shift F6 again to be PBV for short. So PBV.get value, hypercube value of the key. And then we will get the value of that, which will be an object because we don't know if it's a number or a string yet. Then we will check if value is instance of string. We will need a text that represents the value. So if it's a string, value text will be equal to text.literal of value.toString, and then .with color, palette color, dot, and for strings let's choose a blue light 2, I guess, dot value, and then else it's gonna be a number, so we can set it to the same thing, but instead of blue light, let's go with red light. Now what we want to do is we want to add something, but we don't just want to add the value, we want to add the key as well. So we will do key plus an equal sign with color, of course. So palette color, let's go with purple light because I like purple. And then dot append the value text. This should add for every item tag an item has a text with the key and the item and the value. And the value color should depend on whether it's a string or a number. So let's hot swap the code and check out if it's working. For that, let's join this plot. Let's grab a spruce log and let's do itag set string test hello. My bad, it can't be uppercase. String test to hello. And that works. And then let's set number test to 5. And that also works. Alright, that's good. Now let's figure out how to do a keybind that toggles this. For that, we can't just use the default Minecraft keybind, because that one doesn't work in GUIs. So we'll have to introduce a couple new things, starting with mixins. we will create inside of the steel directory another package called mixins or mixin, and inside of there we will have to create a new mixin, which is just a Java class but with special code in it, and this will be a key binding accessor. The name isn't mandatory, but what we do with this is we mixin into the key binding class. This means we insert or change or add code to an existing Minecraft class. This has to be an interface, by the way. So this is yellow because it isn't actually in the mixin config yet. Usually we'd have to go into our fabric mod steel mixins JSON and add it here, but IntelliJ can do that for us. So just click on this. Now if you look into here, it's here. Alright. Now what we do is we do an add accessor of bound key, which is the variable we want to access, and then input util dot key get bound key. Now this will get the key of any key binding if we turn it into this interface, but we also want to make it easier on ourselves in the future to create more of these, so we don't want to hardcode this. Instead we'll make a new class called GUI keybinding, which extends keybinding, and we'll hover over this and create constructor matching super, both of them I guess. And then what we do is we override, we override the isPressed method, and instead of just returning the super.isPressed, what we do is we check, actually what we do is we add another field, because we want to have a check for if this should be enabled in chat, which by default should be false. Then we can just quickly add a public void set enabled in chat. Alright, and now if the Flint.getClient.current screen is instance of a chat screen and it isn't enabled in chat, we just return false. Otherwise, we return input util, which is a Minecraft thing, .isKeyPressed with the Flint.getClient.getWindow.getHandle, and now we use our keybinding accessor. We turn this class into it so that we can use getBoundKey.getCode and use this check correctly. Now this should work as we want it to. Now what we need to do next is we need to actually create a keybind. So for that, let's make a private final GUI keybinding equal new GUI keybinding, and then we'll need a couple of arguments. We need to specify the name of the keybind, which we can just do key.steel.showItemTags, and let's capitalize it like this. Then we need to do input util.type, and in this case it's a keybind on the keyboard, so we do keysim. Then we need to put the default key, which in our case will be left alt. And lastly, we need to put the category name, which will be key.steel.category. Alright, this should create it, but this wouldn't register it yet. For that, what we need to do is we need to make the constructor of this feature so that we can run code on its creation, and then do keybinding helper.register keybinding with the keybinding. Now, inside of here, this whole logic shouldn't happen if the keybind isn't pressed. So we'll do if keybinding.isPressed with a not in front, return, and then let's also add a simple text above all of the hypercube keys. So for that we will do if pbv.getHypercubeKeys dot size is bigger than 0. There's actually a different method for this, not is empty. And if that is the case, For the list, we will add a new text.literal of tags with a gray color. So gray dark.value. Now when we run Minecraft, this should display this should only display when you hold down the keybind. Alright, let's see. Let's set this item tag to some test values. Then let's hold down the key. As you can see, it shows the tags only when you hold down the key. Now we can go into controls and change this key to anything we want. Really, anything. But, as you can see, these aren't, like, here it says miscellaneous, it doesn't say Minecraft.category.miscellaneous or something. So we need to add translations for these two strings. So let me show you how to do that. For that we will have to go into our resources folder, create a directory, calling it assets. Then we need to create a subdirectory and call it steel. Then create another directory, call that one lang. And then finally create a new, a new file called en_us.json. This is the English American translation, which is also the default. Now let's find these here and let's copy them over. We want to do some simple translations, that one as well as this one. Let's just name the category steel. And that should be it. Let's restart Minecraft real quick and I'll be right back when it's started. Alright, here we are. Let's join Minecraft again. And let's open the options, controls, keybinds. And this now says steel and this now says show item tags. That's exactly what we want. Now this will be it for this episode. I hope you had fun, I hope you learned some incredible things, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Bye!